Hi everyone, I'm Alex Bones and today I've brought you to the brilliant Makins fishery in the Midlands. Today it's absolutely freezing cold. There's a lot of venues around the country that have already got a lid of ice on. Somehow this lake, which is Lake 3 here on phase 1 at Makins, is ice free. So we've come out to see if we can get a few bites when it's really cold, and to show you that a really simple approach could be the key if you want to venture out at this time of year to try and catch a few fish. So as I mentioned in the intro, it is absolutely freezing cold. My hands are freezing, the water is freezing. On the temperature gauge on the car this morning, -2, -3 degrees, so when you're coming out to a venue like this, you're going to have to be patient, and it's all going to be about trying to find where the fish are. So I'm sat on my own on Lake 3 today. So how do we go about starting a session, and what are we going to need? Well, let's talk first of all about the baits. All I've brought with me is some bread. Now I'm really confident in fishing bread. This time of year, I'm going to look to try and catch some carp. That's mainly what's in this lake. There are some other F1s and other fish, but carp are going to be the main sort of target on this type of venue. This is the bread that I like to use. I'm not overly fussy about which type of bread. I know a lot of anglers like to use this, which is the orange pack Warburtons. And we're going to be fishing punched bread on the hook. So what I'm going to do first is show you exactly the components that I use to basically get that onto the rig. So we've got a slice of bread. I put it on an upturned bait box lid just so I can press it out. And I'm using a 10mm punch. Now, a 10mm punch is my favourite. I've got 6, 8, 10 and 12mm punches in my box in here. So if I do want to make a change, nice and easy. You can buy them as a set anyway, but 10mm is a good starting point. You can see here I've already had it. I've had a couple of casts already. So the way I'm going to go about this is I'm going to punch. I'm only going to fish 3 discs. 3 discs of bread, and it's important that you don't compress the bread, because what you want is you want it to still float. We're going to be looking to try and catch these fish off the bottom. So that's 3 punches in there. And then when don't press your finger on it or anything, because you'll compress the bread, and compressing the bread will make it sink. So just pop the bread out like that, and it will come out in a neat little arrangement like that. 3 discs of bread, even 4 discs of bread, whatever you're confident with. But don't forget that once you've put it on the hair, it really expands and swells up. So I've already put some on a baiting needle here. So there's my 3 discs of bread. I'm just going to quickly get the rig, talk to you about the rig, and show you how I go about attaching it. So I'll start from this way down. I'm actually using a size 12 hook. So it's certainly not small by any means, but the reason for that is, firstly, you're probably not going to be getting many bites, so you want to try and land every single fish you hook. And with the bread, it swells up in the water and kind of covers or conceals that hook anyway. So you can see on there, I've got quite a long hair. I'll just hold it there so you can see it. Got quite a long hair rig for 3 discs of bread, you might think, but again, it's just because that bread swells up so much in the water that you need to allow some room on the hair for the bread to expand. If you tank test it yourself, or test it in the margins or in a bait tub, you'll see exactly how it reacts, and that's the best way to show yourself exactly how you want to be fishing it. Just going to quickly pop a boilie stop on there to keep it on. So I've just got a small loop in the hair rig, and I'm just going to pop the boilie stop on there just to keep the bread on. And basically that's what we're going to be relying on today to try and catch us some fish in these really cold temperatures. So 3 discs of bread, size 12 hook. Now I'm going to talk to you about the rest of the rig. So hook length is 0.17mm, and at the minute that's 2 foot. So I've got 2 foot length of that. It's up here to, I fish a sliding rig. I prefer sliding rig, and it's going to be allowed at any venue. It's not fixed, it's nice and sliding. And I attach the hook length with a small snap link and swivel. Now the reason for that is because firstly it doesn't tangle, and secondly I can have a number of other different hook lengths on my side tray here, so that I can either fish a foot, 18 inches, 2 foot, 3 foot, depending on where I think the fish are. And we'll cover kind of fish location and how to find them in a minute once we've gone over the rig. But that's just attached with a small loop to the snap link and swivel, got a bead there, and then another snap link and swivel that's attached to the lead. Now this one's 15 gram, which is a ½ ounce. Don't want to go much heavier than that, because when I'm casting in, I don't want to create a lot of disturbance. At this time of year, the fish are going to be probably sat in shoals, they're going to be sat out the way, and any disturbance, you start crashing a feeder in or a heavy lead, you can really spook those fish away from your swim. Now, there isn't, I say, I got the lake to ourselves today, and when there's not a match on, these fish have got the pick of anywhere. If we start making a lot of disturbance here out in front of us, the fish can easily move off to the next peg or even the next peg along. So these fish can move off and go in a different peg, and they're going to be really difficult for you to catch. So small lead basically means you can try and keep the disturbance down to minimum. You've got to cast in, you've got to get to the fish, but just use a small lead to achieve that. Reel line is £6, and then up to the rod and reel. Today we've got we're using a Shakespeare SC2 bomb rod, this little number here, nice slim blank, and I've put the 1 ounce tip in the rod. This is matched up with a 4500 series reel, another Shakespeare Super Team reel. Nice rod, it's got a nice flat section here on, to lock against your arm, part Duplon and cork, nice tight fitting reel seat, really budget friendly rod and reel setup to get you out and get you fishing at this time of year. Lovely set of guides. And as I said, this rod's 9 foot in length, so it's quite a small lake. We're not going to be looking to cast too far, but it's the ideal sort of rod for playing fish at this time of year, because a straight lead and bread setup casts really easily anyway, so you can get a long way with a short rod, and then you're going to have a nice fish playing action. And because you're using a short rod, you'll find that the fish come up much closer when you're looking to land the fish. Now, hopefully, so we've only just started the session, and hopefully we'll get a chance to prove that today and get a couple of fish in the net. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around, get the rig back in the water, and see if we can get a bite. Well, here we go then. There's a bite on the bomb and bread. It's absolutely, despite the water's been free, it is freezing cold. It's stripping line. You can probably hear that there. Now you might notice that things look a little bit different, and that's because we had to abort the mission last time, and we've come back for another go, but it's actually even colder this time around. You can see, well, the lake when we got here this morning was 2/3, maybe even a half frozen, and it's still got some ice running across, probably I don't know, a bit less than 1/3 of the lake still frozen over. Overnight temps have been absolutely, freezing, and the wind chill is making it feel like it's probably, -5. It's absolutely bitter, but that's what's so good about this tactic. This bomb and bread is about just trying to get a bite when them fish are sat there, they don't want to feed, and it's just about trying to find where the fish are and just try to get yourself a bite, one fish at a time. Concentrate on getting that bite first of all. I mean, considering this water's so cold, this fish is really ripping off, taking some line, certainly putting up a good account of itself. And you can see here that this 9 foot Shakespeare SC2 got a lovely soft action, which is ideal for, cushioning any lunges or, lighter hook lengths. When every fish counts, when you really need to get every single fish in, like in this sort of scenario. And it's nice to play fish on a short rod as well. I'm always a big fan of a 10 foot feeder rod, and it's really nice to play fish on a 9 footer as well. So yeah, this has been in the water. It's probably me third or fourth cast of the day, and all I've done is tried to find the fish. So started straight in front of me, no bites, went to the right, you know, just to see if we get any sort of indications, no bites again, went to the left, and that's where we've caught this fish. So, you know, they're just not going to move very far when the conditions are like this, and certainly when we're sitting on our own like we are today on this lake. Any disturbance that we make, you know, we can push the fish away from us. So if we're casting a heavy lead in or making any disturbance, the fish are just going to push away from where we are. In a match scenario, when you got anglers all around the lake, you know, the fish can't really go anywhere. But pleasure fishing, you know, on your own on the lake can often make things even harder than in a match, you know, for that exact reason. Can't believe how hard this fish is fighting. It's taking line again. I mean, I don't want to rush the fish, obviously. You know, I'm not trying to get it in super quick. All I want to do is try and make sure I actually get it in. So I'm just taking my time, but this rod has got a lovely soft action. Really bending nicely with this fish. Still a fair way out in this lake. It's quite a deep lake, this is, or reasonably deep down the middle. You know, I mean, like a lot of commercial fisheries, this lake here at Makins is fantastic in the summer when it's warm. You know, you can catch fish on pretty much anything that you do. But at this time of the year, when they just don't want to feed, you know, you literally just have to try and find them and present a bait in front of them. That's all it's about, really. Nothing complicated or fancy on the rigs. You know, I showed you the rig that I was using, just a little sort of 2/3 ounce bomb on a running rig, so it's nice and safe. And 3, 4, 5 discs of 10mm discs of punch bread, nice and visual. It could be a decent fish, this one, you know. Certainly putting up a good account of itself. Just try and keep the rod nice and low playing these fish. Let the rod do the work and just try and gain the line on it. But I mean, to catch fish in these conditions, you know, it's just about patience. You've just got to be confident. You know, as confident as you can be. Bring a flask, you know, have a hot drink, and just be patient and sit and wait. The tip's not going to go round all the time, or you're not going to be getting liners or indications all the time. It's just being patient and trying to get a bite. Just having a little look where that fish is. Say on the bite, I picked the rod up and it was stripping line as it headed across there underneath the ice. It was stripping line off the reel. It's going to switch the angle on that fish there. But you can probably see how this rod's working, how this rod's bending. So I got that size 12 hook on there as well, so nice decent size hook. Four discs of bread, 4 10mm discs of bread. And you know, this had been in the water maybe, there wasn't time in it, but maybe 10-12 minutes before it went round, you know, and that bread's still on. Oh yeah, it's a lovely one, nice mirror. You know, and the bread's swelling up as it's popping up off the bottom. Here we go. Yes, we got him. A lovely winter bite here at Makins on the Shakespeare SC2 rod. Let's just get this hook out. Let's have a look where it is. Well, look at that. It's like an absolute block of ice, but look at that glinting in the winter sun. It just goes to prove that, you know, when other baits can fail, there are still fish to be caught, and bread can be one of the best options to get yourself a winter bite when all else fails. Try putting a couple of these tips into practice, and hopefully you'll get yourself into a couple of winter carp just like this one next time you're out on the bank.